Are you after a sturdy wallet that can take a hyper beam, look cute like a Gardevoir, and be slim like a Sudowoodo? Well, I got you covered. Introducing the Ridge Wallet. A slim, sexy way to carry around your cards and cash. I've used the Ridge Wallet for over 69 years now. The Ridge Wallet comes in a variety of styles to suit your everyday needs. These are some of the wallet styles I like the best, like the carbon fiber, the titanium, the gold. Really nice, cool designs to make you stand out. They also have some neat products to complement your wallet, like a bottle opener, pens, backpacks, charging, knives, you name it. You can get 10% off your purchase today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/PIMPNITE. Yes, that's right, ridge.com/PIMPNITE, and use code PIMPNITE, link in the description of the video. Cheers, Ridge, for the channel sponsor. What's up, YouTube? For today's video, with a full Shadow Moves Pokemon team. I'll be using only Shadow Moves to attack the opponent and do damage. I've got Shadow Ball, Bone, Claw, Force, Punch, Sneak, and Strike. And I thought I'd throw in Shadow Shield and Shadow Tag as well, because they have the name Shadow in them. I've got 3 battles with the Shadow Moves team here, people, and I really hope you enjoy. Now, if you do enjoy the theme teams and you like watching them, please drop a like on the video. Only takes a second, and it really does help me out. And if you want to leave a comment too, that's awesome. Okay, so we got a Runerigus lead here. I've got my Marowak Alola. So we got Alola Marowak with Shadow Bone as the only Pokemon knowing that move. So we got Curse and Parasong as some support moves. What I do, as usual, on these type of move videos, I only do damage with the said moves, so Shadow moves, but I do give myself a couple of status moves there to make the actual, battle possible. So we got the Runerigus swapping out, and we got the Milotic swapping in here. Now, Milotic's going to be a physical set, and that's doing a lot of damage to my Marowak. Now, the item on the Marowak was the eject button, but more on that strategy a little bit later. I've got the incoming Pokemon here is going to be my Lunala. Now, with these Shadow moves, most of them are physical, which made things a little bit difficult in some of the battles. Say if you had a really bulky defensive Pokemon, it would be difficult. I've got a Shadow Claw Psych-Up Hypnosis set on this Lunala. Now, what you want to do here, right, is you want to give the opponent a +2 in attack with Swag Up. If it lands, of course. And then, obviously, you go for the Psych-Up and copy the attack stat, because it's not like Lunala has Sword Dance, and, then you can go away and attack with Shadow Claw. The item I gave was Scope Lens, and I gave it max speed, and max attack, I gave it Jolly Nature too, because I wanted to be going first. Now, I say if you wanted to try and set up the Swagger and you're a little bit worried about stuff missing, well, you can go for an equally inaccurate Hypnosis and put them to sleep first. So, it's a fun strategy, and it actually worked pretty well. And Lunala's attack isn't all that bad. I mean, it's not super terrible, but it's not super amazing either. All right, that's going to be the end of the Milotic, which is good. So, bye-bye Milotic. Now, the next Pokemon to come in is going to be Runerigus. I was like, wait, this is interesting. I feel like this will one-shot. So go for the Shadow Claw here. Runerigus has got a Focus Sash. You wouldn't read about it. So, unfortunately, now it's going to be able to survive. Also, Mummy's going to kick in. And Runerigus, imagine Runerigus with Shadow Shield, like at full health. That would actually be pretty interesting. So now it's going to go for a Shadow Ball, and that is going to take out my Lunala. However, it's used a Shadow move. And I can't help myself here, people. I'm going to have to use a successful strategy. So remember how I had that Marowak at the start with Shadow Bone and Eject Button? Well, this Marshadow is all based around going for a copycat. So I can copycat the last move that was used, being Shadow Ball. I've also got Shadow Sneak, Shadow Punch as well for Technician, which is really strong on Marshadow. So doing a little somersault there. I like to do a somersault in the morning. Every morning I just wake up, somersault, bam, and fire off a Shadow Ball. And that's going to be the end of Runerigus. So bye-bye. I don't have any special attacking EVs, but it only had 1 health. So it was more disrespect than anything. So next Pokemon we got here is the Indeedee. Now, this is the problem. Normal type Pokemon are very big counter to this thing, because, obviously I can't land any moves on them, so I have to have some sort of strategy on my team to do so. Now, Marshadow is max attack and max speed, adamant nature, but at this stage, I really can't do anything, so I got to swap it out. I do have Toxic on it, because I thought, well, say if I get completely, say some mean person brings a full mono normal team, look, I'm going to need something like that. So going to Marowak, I thought it was going to be the most expendable Pokemon here at this point in time. And I can see the Indeedee's got a Toxic Orb. So I'm like, okay, well that means 2 things. It's going to make use of the Toxic Orb with a move like Facade, or it's going to try and give that Toxic Orb away. So that's the end of Marowak, but that's okay. It's going to have some toxic damage here. Now I thought, well, there's one Pokemon here that I have to swap in. and it's going to be Gothitelle. So I've got Shadow Tag as the ability, and I've also got Shadow Ball. Now, this one is all about trapping the opponent with Shadow Tag, and this is pretty much a perfect example here of why I needed this Gothitelle on my team. So I've got Ring Target as the item. So what I'm going to do here is trick the Ring Target to the Indeedee. Now, I know I'm going to get poisoned by receiving the Toxic Orb, but I need to be able to land an attacking move on it. So now that I've given it a Ring Target, the immunity is going to be gone for the Ghost-type moves. So I can land Ghost-type moves now on Indeedee, which is going to be great, you know. And they'll be super effective too, which is going to be even better. This one sort of got spoiled though, because the Toxic Orb was actually doing extra damage to me, and that facade was hitting pretty, you know, hard as well. So I would have liked to go for a Fake Tears, then a Shadow Ball, but I thought, well, it's going to be better going for a Shadow Ball, because at least I can get some damage there. And it's not like Indeedee's got a lot of health left anyway. So Gothitelle will obviously faint to this attack, but it pretty much did its job here. Now, the EV spread on this one was max health, max defense. So it was more of a defensive set. So that's why I was able to tank those facades a little bit better. Not that Indeedee's got an amazing attack, but you know what I mean, right? So I'm going to swap in Giratina here. And this Giratina is going to be max attack and max speed as well. We've got to play rough, nice swap in there. So I thought, well, I could swap out the Gothitelle, swap in the Giratina, and the Indeedee will faint to the Toxic. But I'd say they predicted my swap into one of the other types, or my Ghost type, right? So that was a good play right there. Next Pokemon, oh look, it's an opposing Marshadow. So this is a Shadow Force Power Herb set. So I can go for Shadow Force, instantly it will activate and, you know, Shrek the opponent, hopefully. Now, this has also got Scary Face and Destiny Bond. That's just a little bit of a strategy in case I'm in a little spot of bother against maybe a normal type Pokemon or something that's really, really countering me, which is fairly easy. Unfortunately for me, this Marshadow is going to outspeed me, and it's going to have Will-O-Wisp, so it seems to be like a support set. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, Shadow Force still does really good damage, don't get me wrong, but that definitely would have been a one-hit KO, you know, if I wasn't burned right there. So it's got some bulk to it. It's also got leftovers too, which is really, really interesting. Now, I've got on this one, Shadow Force. So, what I wanted to try and achieve in some sort of battle was get Marshadow to copy Shadow Force, like copycat the Shadow Force, because, I don't know, I feel like it should get it. It's literally Shadow Force, you know, Marshadow. You know what I mean? Anyway, maybe I'm thinking too much. So, go for a Scary Face here. I want to see if I can drop Marshadow's speed. I thought it's going to be more important right here. Now, Marshadow's going to have the... It's going to have the leftovers, right? I felt like none of my moves would have taken it out there either, and I thought slowing it down might be a little bit better, because I might be able to swap one of my other Pokemon in. So I was like, okay, let's save the Giratina. I can make use of Destiny Bond later on, and we'll go into Gothitelle here. I don't really need it. And then the Marshadow uses Rest. I'm like, oh, man. I could have actually gone for Destiny Bond then, kept it in, and then wasted the Giratina if the Marshadow used Rest, which it did. So that was a good thing that I swapped it out. But in this case, I can go for a Shadow Ball here or a Trick. However, we got the Marshadow swapping out. Obviously, wanting to keep its nice high speed stat. And we got Jolteon coming in. So Jolteon is going to be the lucky receiver of Toxic. Man, this Toxic, it's been swapped around like musical chairs, you know. So I get an Expert Belt, which is very, very good. So obviously, this is going to be relying on some super effective moves. And we got the Toxic Orb on Jolteon. It'd be pretty funny if Jolteon actually was a quick feat set. Like, it actually benefited from the item they gave away. But I don't know. Like, it might be, but I don't know. So anyway, it's going to go for a Shadow Ball, another Shadow move. And then I was like, wait, I can't contain my excitement to use Shadow Ball again with Marshadow with 0 IVs and special attack. So swapping Marshadow in, I was like, I wonder how much this is actually going to do to Jolteon. Obviously, it won't take it out. And I do have Shadow Sneak and Shadow Punch as well. You know, Shadow Punch will take it out. I feel like Shadow Sneak will almost take it out as well with our Technician. So Shadow Ball obviously is going to be super effective against my Marshadow. And this is going to give me the opportunity to go for a Copycat here. So Copycat is going to copy the last move, which of course was Shadow Ball. You just got to see that. And you know, it does pretty good damage here for no special attack EVs. And I've also got the Toxic going. So now it's in range for me to easy take out with Shadow Sneak. I can outspeed the Jolteon and finish it off. I'd say out of all of that, I would have taken a Shadow Ball regardless. So it didn't really matter what I did. So at least the Jolteon stayed in and I could take it out. Like, say if I went for a Shadow Sneak, we might have swapped out. So we got the Jolteon down. And next Pokemon we got is the Dusclops. So lots of Ghost Pokemon on the other side of the team too. So we've got 3 Ghost Pokemon. Now, Dusclops is going to be the Dynamax Pokemon. Now, Dusclops is pretty thick. It's got a lot of defense and special defense. It doesn't have great health, but, you know, Dynamax is going to allow it to have that, nice little bit of extra health there. So, Dusclops, I know that I can one-shot, but outside of the Dynamax course, I was like, let's just get some damage on it, try and wear it down a little bit. Shadow Punch does a lot. That's a heap of damage, right? Now, Dusclops is going to go for a Max Phantasm on my Marshadow, and that is going to be the end of it. So, I'm sort of curious here. Is it a physical set? Is it a special set? Like, what sort of set would it be? I've run a physical Dusclops myself. It's actually not too bad. Like a bulky Everlight one. I've actually done a Dusclops sweep. A physical one, so if you like Dusclops, that's on the YouTube. So we're going to go into Giratina now. I thought, well, I'd like to use the Destiny Bomb, but I can't, Dynamax, so let's just go ahead and go for Shadow Claw. I get a nice little crit there, but unfortunately, since I've got that bird, the damage is, it's really, really bad. Like, if I didn't have that bird, I think I would have taken Dusclops out there, because that was a crit, right? Judging on the amount of damage. Oh, it would have been very, very close. So last Pokemon is Calyrex Shadow Rider. Now, I know you think, well, this is going to be interesting. Like, what are you going to do with this set? Because the only Shadow move to get is Shadow Ball. I've got a Trick Room Shadow Ball Speed Swap Wonder Room set holding an Iron Ball. So I really had to nerf this Pokemon because you know how good it is. So I didn't want to just press the A button, Shadow Ball, smash my head in the controller and get a dub, right? So we've got the Shadow Ball on this as the main attacking move. So I've got max health and max special attack quiet nature. So I wanted to run this under Trick Room. Now, since it's such a fast Pokemon, it can be obviously quite a challenge. Anyway, more on that a little bit later. We're going to go for the Shadow Ball on the, well, that was the incoming Marshadow, and Marshadow tanks it. I'm like, damn, this thing's got like bulk to it, just a bulky Marshadow, very, very bulky. And I thought to myself, well, I might be able to set up the Trick Room here, but the only bad thing is Dusclops might be able to outspeed me, but I wanted to put it to the test run. So putting the Trick Room up on the field here, Marshadow is going to go for a Sleep Talk. Hopefully it doesn't get a Ghost type move, that'd be bad, and it rolls a Hex. So if I wasn't running like bulk, I would have, if I wasn't running max health, I would have been dropped like right there, so that was awesome. So setting up the Trick Room now, I've got the Iron Ball. Iron Ball is going to halve my base speed, which is going to be very, very handy. And now I can attack, and I can get my ability to kick in and give me a +1 in special attack. So pretty much we're going to fire the Shadow Ball off here. It's probably going to be the only time you get to see me use Shadow Ball Calyrex, so enjoy it, all right? Lap that up. So bye-bye Marshadow. Last Pokemon is going to be the Dusclops. Now on this team, I didn't really want to Dynamax because obviously if I Dynamax, I won't be using... Technically, I'll be using a Shadow move, but it won't be called a Shadow move. So I only did it when I really, really had to. In this case, I thought, well, if Dusclops does outspeed me, which, there's a high chance of that, even with the Iron Ball, I have to be able to live the attack. And any attack's going to take out Dusclops right now. So I felt like it didn't really matter whether I Dynamax. I'm not Dynamaxing the damage. I'm Dynamaxing to get more health off, right? So here we go, hoping that Dusclops will get outsped. Dusclops outspeeds the Endure. I'm like, oh, okay, so... The strategy on this Dusclops, which is pretty funny, it had a Custap Berry, but Custap Berry is not going to be able to activate because I've got the Unnerve ability, which stops all berry activations. So like, okay, so obviously you had a berry, but it can't do anything. 2 minutes of the battle left. The Dusclops outspeeds you in Poltergeist. It's a physical set after all, and Calyrex is not going to be able to live that one. So that is the end of the Trick Room Calyrex, but it does make a very nice comeback in the next couple of battles. Thank you for the Battle of Skylar. Unfortunately, I don't know, there was lots of Ghost-type Pokemon. I could have just gone for Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball there, but that was sort of my rule using Calyrex because it's such a really good Pokemon. I didn't want to go easy mode, right? Next Pokemon battle, this one was against Victor, and we have a Centiskorch lead here. Now, this was a interesting battle. So first Pokemon's going to be Marowak. I was hoping I could outspeed Centiskorch, get some Shadow Bone off. However, it's going to outspeed me and get the Bite off. So interesting with Bite. Still does a lot of damage, and Eject Button is going to eject me out of the battle. Now, with Eject Button too, if the opponent did use a Shadow move on my Marowak, there was a pretty good chance because it was a Ghost, I could always swap Marshadow in. So going to Gothitelle here, I'm going to obviously cry about my Marowak getting... forcibly swapped out of there and drop the Centiskorch's special defense. Now we got a Leech Life, and that does half my health. So it's a good thing I'm running max health and max defense because, I would have got absolutely destroyed. So firing off the Shadow Ball there, since I've got no special attack EVs, it does sort of underwhelming damage, but I'm still happy about it. Still some pretty good damage. Now I'm going to go for another Shadow Ball here on this Centiskorch. Centiskorch will be able to defeat me though, unfortunately, but... it's on a low amount of health, so I'm not too bummed out about that one. So bye-bye Gothitelle. Now, I didn't really need to use Ring Target Trick at all because I looked at the team preview. I was like, okay, there's no you know, there's no, like, normal type Pokemon here, so I'm good. So I don't have to rely on Coffee till save it till the normal type Pokemon comes out, I guess you could say. So we're going to bring in Giratina now. I was like, let's just get rid of this. And then they go for the G-Max Centipede. I'm like, what? I don't need a little bit of help. Like, what are they thinking here? But I was like, okay, maybe they're expecting to live this attack, and then they'll go for a Max Darkness on Giratina, which obviously will do a fair bit of damage. I doubt it's going to take it out, though. They need, like, a critical hit here, you know? Now, this also made me think about it, the other day. We got Gen 9 announced, you know. If you are still living under a rock, you know, Gen 9 has been announced. We've even seen the new starter and stuff like that. I did a little poll on my community tab as well. But anyway, it's interesting. What do you think the mechanic will be for Gen 9, you know? Like, we've had Dynamax here and G-Max, and obviously, I doubt they'll very much carry this into the next gen, because it's obviously more the Sword and Shield sort of era. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what they're going to do. What do you think they'll do as a mechanic? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Okay, next Pokemon, it's another Ghost type. This is Shinijo. I'm going to one-shot that there with the Shadow Claw. So I don't know what item they had on that. I thought they might use Shadow Sneak or something like that, or maybe Endure Weakness Policy, but who knows what item that had? Maybe Heavy Duty Boots something. So out comes Articuno. Now the shiny is actually legal now. You can actually get them by going in the competition if you haven't already. But yeah, they're all going to be legal eventually, which I kind of saw that one coming. So here comes Freezing Glare, and that's going to be the end of my Giratina, unfortunately. And I was like, well, let's go to Marowak. I can hit it with a Shadow Bone. That'll do a fair bit. I might be able to live this Freezing Glare. It's going to go for a Hurricane, and Hurricane is going to hit me really hard, and that is going to be the end of my Marowak. So suddenly my team is getting wrecked by this thing. So next Pokemon I'm going to bring is going to be Lunala, because I've got Shadow Shield. I was like, I'm feeling good about this. So go for Shadow Claw. I'm not going to go for Swagger or anything like that. Shadow Claw almost takes that. It was very, very close. So I was happy with the damage. Now, Articuno's going to fire off another Hurricane. Doesn't miss or anything like that. And I get confused. I'm like, man, that's really, really unlucky. Because if I hit myself right here, I'm going to definitely faint to the Hurricane afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So go for another Shadow Claw. And that is going to be the end of the Articuno. So bye-bye, Articuno. It was a very threatening Pokemon. That's probably, out of all of them, I don't know. Like, I feel like they have really good shinies. Like, they look really, really good, right? So next Pokemon, this was a problem Pokemon, Melmetal, right? Now, remember at the start I was talking about bulky Pokemon on the defensive side that were difficult to get around? This is one of them, right? Because I've only really got Shadow Ball to hit this kind of hard. So unfortunately, Melmetal's going to paralyze me right off the bat there with the Thunder Wave, the Thunder Punch, and it's got double Iron Bash. I lived on 1 health on the first one, so the Merchant's Fable, and that's the end of the Lunala. Man, I've got to take a sip real quick. Code SALT, we got 10% off at the moment. Grab yourself a saving on GP, or you want to top up there. Okay, sorry, back to the battle. Little promo there. We got my Shadow coming in here with the Shadow Punch, doing very, very good damage. Unfortunately, Melmetal is such a beast in defense. Melmetal is such a good Pokemon, right? And I'm also thinking, yeah, if I don't take this out, which I'm not going to with my Shadow Rider is not going to be able to outspeed this under Trick Room. You know what I mean? So I'd like to get it speed stat with Speed Swap, but I don't really want to. I don't want to take any moves like from this thing at all, right? I might get paralyzed again. That could be really, really bad. You know, it might help me out in Trick Room, but I was like, what I'll do here is I'll just swap it in and use Shadow Ball. Just get rid of it, you know? I don't normally do this, but I need to do that because I don't want to take a double Iron Bash from Melmetal. That'll be very, very bad. Even with max health, that could actually take me out. So bye-bye Melmetal. There's 2 more Pokemon left, and you actually get to see the full strategy of my Calyrex starting right now. This is really interesting. Mew comes in here. I was like, okay, Mew, I can take that out with Shadow Ball. Let's go for the Trick Room. They transform into my Calyrex. I was like, oh, man, I got to take this out quick, you know? Lickety split. So we got the transformation here into the Calyrex versus Calyrex, which is actually a Mew. I'm not amused. I'm going to set up the Trick Room here. And since I've got Iron Ball as the item, my speed's going to be halved. So I outspeed the opposing Ditto, Mew, sorry. I'm so good. You're used to Ditto and Mew being the transformed Pokemon. And that is going to take it out. So that's a +2 in special attack. Now, I did have a rule. I wasn't allowed to Dynamax unless I absolutely had to. Like that first battle, you know? So this stage, the last Pokemon, Shuckle, I was like, I can't outspeed a Shuckle in Trick Room, but I can. Watch this. This is so funny. So Shuckle goes for a power split here. I was like, okay, fair enough. You split the power. It is what it is. And now I'm going to go for speed swap. So now, think about this. I got Shuckle's speed and I've got an Iron Ball at the same time. So no Pokemon can outspeed me. Like, never under Trick Room. Like, even opposing Shuckle is so faster than me, right? So now we got the Shuckle go for a Gyro Ball, which does 1 damage dealer. Like, think about it. Shuckle's now got my speed of the Calyrex, right? And it went for Gyro Ball, and it did 1 damage. Like, oh my goodness, it completely shut it down. So Shuckle's going for another Gyro Ball, does another 1 damage, and that's it. The Trick Room wears off. They've hit the cancel button, and that's the end of the battle. Hope you enjoyed it. But man, that was the full Calyrex setup right there on the Shuckle. It was perfect to actually get that. Man, I wonder what speed stat it would have had with Iron Ball. Like, I don't know if someone wants to run some numbers, but let's just say, like, say 0 IVs in Shuckle's speed. Like, I'd like to know what that actual number would be. So, next battle, this one was against Ted, and this was an interesting battle as well. Like, this was actually, you know what, this was a troll battle. So in comes the X-Cloud, that's called Neighbors. I get it, so the Neighbors obviously pretty noisy. It's like, you know, they go for the Boom Burst. I've got the stare on, or they're making a lot of noise. It's going to be a Choice Spec Scrappy set, which is really bad. Like, this thing is a threat right now. And it's a normal type too. So I have to get it, I got it like one way or the other. I got to slide a ring target onto it, right? So I go for the trick here, leaving the Boom Burst, which is very good. And now I've given them a ring target, and I got their Choice Spec. So now X-Cloud's going to go for yet another Boom Burst, and that's going to be the end of Gothitelle. So just like that, you know, just like that, I've lost 2 Pokemon already. Now I'm going to go to Giratina. Like, what I can do here is I can go for a Shadow Force, and that'll hit the X-Cloud because of the type immunities have been removed, and I can take it out in one shot. However, X-Cloud swaps out, and Mudsdale comes in. Now, this part was actually really trolling, right? So first things first, like, okay, well, Mudsdale, let's see how much damage I actually do to it. So Power Web's going to activate, allow me to use Shadow Force in 1 turn. And it does really good damage to Mudsdale. Mudsdale's a very tanky Pokemon, right? So I was happy with that. It's going to have Stamina, which is going to be a problem too, with especially with mostly physical attackers. I'm going to have to heavily rely, like a lot of time I had to rely a little bit on Calyrex. But since it was a Trick Room set, it wasn't all that easy. I had to normally live, you know, an attack or 2 to set the Trick Room. Then it could run out, you know. And then the Mudsdale goes for a rest. You know, it's like, oh, man, that's not very nice. So the Mudsdale's going to be going to sleep, right, and getting all its health back. So at this stage, they're clearly taking advantage of my physical attack to boost the staminas on the Mudsdale, right? So it's going to get another stamina here, and I can just keep attacking this over and over and over again. So it's going to keep getting, you know, boosted up here. But then it didn't have a Sleep Talk. I was like, oh, it didn't have Sleep Talk, so I might be able to get a critical hit here or do some decent damage to it. So what I did right is I went into the Mars Shadow. And I was like, well, I can go for Mars Shadow, copycat the Shadow Force, considering, you know, the Mudsdale didn't make an attacking move, and the last move used in play was actually Shadow Force. So it doesn't really matter if the move is on that last turn. Like, it could be, say, for example, you use Shadow Force, but it was 2 turns ago and no moves were made. Like, both opponents were sleeping or just doing nothing. No attacking moves. You can still use the move for a couple of turns away, which is really cool. Then their Mudsdale woke up and went to sleep again. They're literally trolling me right now. They just keep going for rest over and over again. And I'll add one thing in here too to add some context to this matchup. They almost took 30 seconds to a minute just to press the rest button. I'm not joking. Like, if you were here live, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was just constantly using rest, like after like waiting 30 seconds to a minute. And then after all this, it had Sleep Talk. I'm like, okay, they're 100% trying to troll me, and they rolled a High Horsepower. And High Horsepower did a fair bit of damage to me, so it's a 3-hit KO. So I'm thinking, man, this thing's got so many staminas up right now. They're just trolling. They're timer stalling and trolling me. So I pretty much have to go into Calyrex here. I've got no choice. I have to do it, you know. So going to Calyrex here, Mudsdale isn't exactly what you call a fast Pokemon either. So I was like, all right, well, I can get Trick Room up here. Now, the Mudsdale is going to be sleeping this turn, and this turn they decided to press the Sleep Talk button. So, all right, hopefully it doesn't get High Horsepower, and they get a nice little calmer rest there. So I was very happy about that. So Mudsdale's going to get some more leftovers recovery here, and it's going to be difficult to take this one out in one shot. I believe it's going to be a 2-hit KO. They woke up and used Body Press on my Calyrex. I'm like, what? What are they? They're trolling. They're 100% trolling me. So they did the timer stalling before for like, I'd say they timer stalled me. I'm trying to think of the raw cut of the battle. It was at least 3 to 5 minutes of just stalling with rest. And then they used Body Press on me, like disrespect Body Press. Now they're going to swap in the Darmanitan here. I went for Shadow Ball because I just wanted to get rid of the Mudsdale, right? And they swapped it out. I'm like, damn, that's annoying. So The Darmanitan is going to take a lot of damage, but it doesn't take it out. And I just went for another Shadow Ball here because I've got the Iron Ball and I can outspeed, the Darmanitan under the Trick Room. So bye-bye Darmanitan. That would have been very, very bad. Now, I'm going to get a +1 as special attacking. I was like, okay, well, it's actually kind of handy because I gave this X-Cloud a ring target earlier on. So I'm going to be able to land a Shadow Ball on. So go for Shadow Ball there, outspeeding X-Cloud as well, which is excellent. And that is going to be the end of X-Cloud. So maybe they thought they could outspeed me in the Trick Room, Calyrex is still a very fast Pokemon, and it's not like my item's been revealed yet, Now, the next Pokemon's going to be Marowak, another possible Pokemon that could outspeed me in the Trick Room, and it didn't. And now I'm going to get another Shadow Ball off, and Marowak is going to go down. So, at the moment, they're just lining them up, and I'm just knocking them down. So, bye-bye Marowak. Now, I'm going to get another special attack boost, and the Grimnate takes ages, like every single time, like the animation. So, the next Pokemon we got here is going to be the Rillaboom, and I think their nickname is like off the Cadbury chocolate ad. I think so. I think that's what they were meaning. The gorilla off there. So anyway, we got some grassy terrain in the field. They've got the Grassy Seed to boost their defense 1 stage. And I think they may go for a Grassy Glide, which they did. Now, since I was running max health, Calyrex takes that attack so much better. Like, there was a chance that could actually have fainted Calyrex there if I didn't run Bulk on it. So Shadow Ball's going to take out the Rillaboom, another Pokemon down, and yet another special attacking boost. I bet they're regretting trolling me right now. So next Pokemon here we got is the Weezing, and the Trick Room isn't up anymore. So I thought about setting it up, and I was like, nah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go for the attacking move and take the Weezing out. Weezing's going to go for a Strange Steam there. I don't get confused, which is great. And a Shadow Ball is going to be hitting it squarely in the top hat, and that's the end of Weezing. So bye-bye Weezing. Now there's only one Pokemon left, and you know it's going to be the Mudsdale, right? The trolling Mudsdale from the start that spam rest, and time has stalled me. So I'm going to get some little bit of health recovery there back there from the grassy terrain. And this is where things got interesting. Like, you know what? I'm not going to Dynamax here because I don't need to. I'm going to take this out with the Shadow Ball. I'm not going to do that. Oh, I've got a lot of boosts up. Let's see how it goes. So obviously they're going to Dynamax their Mudsdale because it's their last Pokemon. Now, Mudsdale is going to get a lot of health back from this. But I do have a lot of special attacking boosting. Calyrex got a lot of special attacks. So I was feeling good about this. So the Mudsdale, right, of course, is going to use the Max Guard in the first turn. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to give it a little bit of extra recovery, only a little bit. So it's going to get the grassy terrain, and it's going to get the leftovers. I'm just going to get the grassy terrain, but that doesn't really matter. It's more about the Mudsdale in this matchup. So Mudsdale's, like, look at the amount of health it gets back there, right? So, and it gets a little bit. So it's leftovers and the grassy terrain. Now I'm going to go for Shadow Ball here on a Mudsdale. I was like, okay, this is good. It's going to drop it. It lived due to the Max Guard that it did the turn before. You wouldn't read about it. So the Mudsdale is now going to be able to take my Calyrex out with the Max Quake. I was like, uh-oh. If this thing gets a rest off, like, they've used Max Guard turn 1. They've used Max Quake turn 2, which is going to boost its special defense. If this thing Max Guards this turn and is able to get a rest off outside of Dynamax, I'm not going to be able to beat it. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to stall me out. So another round of leftovers and grassy terrain on the Mudsdale. So I should have gone for Dynamax there, but, I just didn't want to do it, So now Mudsdale's going to go for another Max Guard like I knew they would, and Shadow Punch is going to hit the Max Guard. However, it's going to lose its bulk outside of the Dynamax, which is going to be very, very good. However, can Marshadow take it out with a stamina up as well? It did get 1 stamina boost. So they're trying to get as much health as possible before the Dynamax actually ends. So now Mudsdale is going to be small, and of course the grassy terrain is gone too, but it's all sort of up to this turn whether or not I can take it. I was confident I could still take it out. So go for Shadow Punch, and that is going to be the end of the stalling Mudsdale. Holy moly, hope you enjoyed all 3 battles. I'll catch you tomorrow for another video. Peace out, people.